What's up, everybody? Welcome to Lambo Plays Podcast, episode 113. I'm your host, Mike, along with my co-host, Timothy Troiano, and this is for UFC Edmonton 14-fight card. Main event, Albazi versus Moreno. A pretty damn good fight there in the main event. A non-pay-per-view card, so a lot of fights here, man. I'm actually excited for another 14-fight card. Tim, back again. How do you feel this week about this card?
I think there's some good fights. I'm be interested to chop it up with you, try to figure out some good spots for the people. I was looking at it. I was talking to some people in Discord about it. I was just like, I think that there's like 8 potential split decisions here, and going into Canada for the last time they went to Canada, I think there were some pretty shady decisions as well. So it's going to be a pretty greasy card, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there was someone in my Discord that pulled up the stats since the new gloves, and on fights that have gone the distance, 25% of them have been split. It's insane. An insane number of split decisions this year. Even when they're not splits, they're splits. That's the fucking crazy part. It's like there's no chance some of these fights are splits, and we're getting to split somehow. And it's the judging, obviously. And again, last week, a horrendous decision gave out Leal at plus 220. Leal, that one hurt, man. Like fucking disgusting ass 30-27 on one judge. And that guy has an MMA judging school and stuff like that. It's like, is this what you teach your judges and officials? Like how to give a shady scorecard? Anyways, let me go over to my chat. Always shout out my chat. Elijah One, first one in the house. Let's effing go. So damn close to cashing that Lambo. Just needed Kennedy 1-2. Looking forward to the show. Appreciate you, my man. Andrew, Breast MMA breakdowns on YouTube. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you as well. Buster Jensen says, looking forward to how you guys see the Black Beast fight. He has been looking more fit in his last few fights. I think he's kind of like back to his original self, but I'm going to talk about that fight a little later. There's something very interesting that happened in that fight prior to that fight happening that I want to discuss. What's up, Narco and Tim? One more sleep. Winning Lambos incoming. Appreciate you, my man. Best time of the week. Thank you, Daz. Appreciate you as well. Azure, excited to talk fist fights and violence. Smash the likes. Thank you, Narco Cop and Tim. Thank you, Azure, as well. Uncle Wheezy, fired up for this card. Let's get that money. Thank you, my friend. Uncle Wheezy, my man. Appreciate him. Who else do we have in here? Joel. No other place. I'd rather be on a Friday night with the best knowledgeable guys I know. Get money tomorrow. I appreciate you, Joel. Thank you, man. Los Santos, I've been waiting all day for this. Let's go, guys. I appreciate you as well. Joshua Frick, what is up, my man? Jackie Blaine Harrington, Narco and Tim, respect level through the roof. If you want to cash it and not trash it, if you join the Discord and smash the like, appreciate you, man. Jewish Better, what is up, my man? Thank you for joining. Bufu on the beat. What's up, my brother? Thank you for joining as well. Poetan, the Bronx. How are you doing? DA07, disgusting next 2 cards, but we'll focus on the positive this week. Yes, sir. Barry Watson, 12-6, elbow gone?
Elbow, yeah, should be. No, yeah, it's legal now.
Legal now, you mean? Okay, 12. I guess he means it's legal. I'm assuming. Dixon, Narco Tim, for both of you darlings, great to see you. I'm ready to make a fat bag for my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, my man. Happy birthday to Dixon. Shout out. Thank you, my man. Felipe, always supporting. Appreciate you. Bloom Dog, what is up, my man? Sujit says, let's start this month off with a big win. Hell yeah. I love that. MB, wait, is that MB? Or is that MB?
MB.
Lost loads of bets with Max. Not even mad. Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. New month. New Lambo, says Daily Dig. Appreciate you. Drake MMA had Kamzat round 1 sub plus 800. Very good bet. And Kalaev decision, man. One more leg. Trying to hit 10K this week. Let's go to the moon. Hell yeah. I like the sounds of that. Eric, interested on your thoughts on the weigh-ins. We're going to talk about that as well. Chronic Combat, What is up, my man? Essential weekly listening. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. I got the house to myself, drinking some whiskey and listening to Lambos. Let's effing go, Double Flush. MMA Lewis, one of my favorite shows. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Dylan, new to the chat, but love your breakdowns. Thank you, my man. Thank you for the nice shout out. And with that being said, Tim, 147 in here live. We will start out with the first fight of the night, and it is in the flyweight division. It is the 6-1 Jamie Lynn Horth versus 7-1 Ivana Petrovic, and you can kick us off here.
This fight is a fight, yeah, I don't really rate either one of these women too highly. I think this is just super greasy split decision territory as normal. The split decision is an unbettable line. It's like one of the lowest split decision lines I've ever seen, plus 225. So don't bet that. Almost got to like stop betting the split decisions so that the books will put them back to kind of a normal rate for us, because these lines are just eventually they're going to be giving us minus numbers on split decisions. I think that there's some big red flags in both these girls' games. I'm not going to break down too much. I just think this is a majorly greasy split decision type fight. I think Horth getting taken down by Hardy and not being able to take down Hardy is a huge red flag. I know that she should be bigger and stronger in this fight, but I just don't really trust her. I think she's super slow striking, pretty body on the feet. Petrovic, same thing. I don't think that she's really great striking. Just a question of who's going to be physically stronger. Bunch of clinching. Whoever gets takedowns probably going to have a little bit of top time. Give me the dog by decision and the dog by split. Petrovic by points plus 270. Petrovic by split plus 800. Really want no part of this fight whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, honestly. This line, money keeps coming in on Horth, and Petrovic is at 190 now at the best price. On Bet Online, she is pushing 195 now. So this is getting really interesting here with their line, because I did tell my Discord, like, I'm like, if it gets to 200, probably going to have to bet Petrovic. By the way, they were almost the same size at face-offs. I just watched it before the show. One other thing to note, because somebody asked about weigh-ins, right? And Horth was the last girl to weigh in. You know, she's the very last person to weigh in. I heard from people that are out there that she had a really, really tough cut. She was going back in and out of the sauna, you know, doing all types of shit to make weight. She made weight. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal at this point. You know, she's going to rehydrate. She looked fine at face-offs. But I mean, I think both these girls make a lot of mistakes, right? Like I've seen Horth make a ton of mistakes. She can get taken down. You know, she gives up position when she gets taken down. The other thing is her striking is not very good, man. Like she's basically a kicking merchant, right? She kicks a lot. She's got good body kicks, but that's about it. Like her hands are not very good. She can get you down as well. I've watched her regional tape, a bunch of them, and she does go for body lock takedowns, and she does well. She looks pretty good there where she can get a takedown. But I also think Petrovic can get her down as well with the same body locks like she did to Luana. So the thing here is, like, nothing really is appealing to me as far as Lambo play, right? If I want to play Petrovic, I just can't give her decision because it's so low. Like it's what, 70 cents more than her money line? Like just play her money line at almost 200, right? How I'm going to attack this, it's kind of weird. I don't think I've ever done this, but I think both girls have a little bit of finishing equity late. I don't know who's going to be fresher, honestly, late. And, you know, Petrovic has shown that late she can be kind of dangerous in some of these fights, right? Like if you go back and look at that Liang fight, like she destroyed Liang 2-3. Yes, Liang is gassy. I get it. But look at her historically, right? She's got a lot of late finishes, round 3, round 4. Tekana, I know her from Aries, a good striker, tough girl. She finished her in round 3. Then that Iwilana, the little Polish fighter, she finished her in round 4, And the same thing can be said for Horth, though. That's the crazy part. Like, Horth has a bunch of round 3, round 3, round 3, round 2. You know what I'm saying? So what I attacked it by betting both girls round 3. They're big numbers. Petro is 33-1. Horth is 20-1. It's like, it's not a great bet. I'm not like in love with it because I think this fight goes to decision. But it's 2 sprinkles that I think are like, just in case. For me, it's who gets on top late in round 3 probably has some finishing equity. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind the little sprinkle on those prices. They're just huge. I don't think they happen like I said, but it's how I want to attack this fight. I just really don't like many other props. That's the problem. There's really not much else. And like you mentioned, split decision is disgusting. So yeah, but I do think, honestly, Ivana Petrovic is the money line side here at almost 2-1. I don't see how you get to Jamie Lynn Horth at this price. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Moving on, fight number 2. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 13-7 Chad and Helinger versus the 20-10 Cody Gibson. And I will kick this one off. Fun stat here, guys. And Helinger, 13-7. Not the best record. It's been finished 7 times. 6 of them by submission. Cody Gibson, 20-10. 4 of them by submission. And he loves sticking his head in a guillotine. For whatever reason, he is stuck in guillotines in so many fights. He got out of a lot of them, but he absolutely gets his head in the guillotine. And I think that might be Chad's like best sub, like just finding a guillotine. I don't think he's going to get it, but how I'm attacking this one is fight ends in sub. It's plus 420 on Rivers. I think it's most likely it's going to be Gibson finding a sub. I think, and Hellinger's takedown defense is god-awful. I think if Gibson is smart, he pursues wrestling. He gets takedowns, and I think eventually he could probably find a sub here. So I'm just going to play it because Gibson's sub is so close to the fight ends in sub. I don't want to get burned if Hellinger gets him with like a guillotine. I'm like, oh, why did I bet the plus 500 when there was 420, for both guys? So I'm going with that. Fight ends in sub, plus 420, bet Rivers. Tim, what do you got here? Tim is talking to himself, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry about that. I just muted myself instead of unmuting myself. Yeah, I had the same thing. End sub, Gibson. I think Gibson is more likely for the sub. Sub 2, if you want to do sub 2, sub 3 Gibson, I don't hate that. Plus 1,400, plus 1,800. But yeah, end sub is smarter. There's no reason to get greedy on it for like 80 cents. It's actually, end sub is better than on Rivers is better than the Cody sub on like a lot of books like FanDuel and DK. It's actually a better line on end sub. So it's just no brainer to hit end sub instead there. Yeah, just both these guys, like you said, just nothing really to add. Both these guys are pathological sub losers. So
yeah, I mean, and Hellinger, like, how did he not? I mean, I thank him because I had Hellinger by decision, but how did he not finish Gregorio last fight? Like, the guy couldn't walk, literally could not walk. And he couldn't finish him.
Was it Johnson that subbed him? Was it? I can't remember.
Round 3, yes.
Yeah, I had him there, and I think that he had him in a guillotine too, where he slipped out. So yeah, glad he didn't get that one either.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Fight number 3. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 10-2 Siri City versus the 10-4 Garrett Armfield, and this one's yours.
Pretty sure that you and I have some dissension on this fight here. Yeah, I just think that this is a fight that's really interesting. Garrett is a guy that cashed pretty big on the Brady sub versus him and sub 3 versus him. And it was basically just like survive on the feet if you're Brady. And then basically what happened in the fight, like be able to survive, try to grapple him, try to tire him out. I think Garrett is a fighter that's like gasses if he gets grappled. So I don't necessarily think he gets as tired in striking fights as if he has to grapple a lot himself. He hasn't gone for any takedowns, I think, or hasn't gotten any takedowns in the UFC so far. But he does have wrestling in his back pocket. I do think that if there is like a guy that's going to have a little bit more success wrestling, I think it could be him, but I don't think that he's going to wrestle. I think he's going to try to stand and bang with City in this fight. I think it's probably more volume on the City side, a little longer, but I think the moments are going to come from Garrett here. So I like the Garrett by decision plus 300, Garrett by split plus 900, and split plus 350. I just think it's a classic moments versus minutes. I think bigger shots. I think in a fight where it's just all striking, I think that he can have, a decent amount of volume as well. So yeah, give me the dog at some good odds on the points and the split for him. So
yeah, it's funny you say they're gonna stand and bang, and I listened to his interview and he said he's gonna grapple. It's literally what Armfield said. He's like, I've been striking in all my fights. I haven't shown my grappling, but I'm gonna show people that I can grapple. So he does have a wrestling background. Like, and if you go back on his regional tape, it's not like he's not so much a like double leg guy or something like that. No, he's mostly like shows you a single leg, then goes to the body lock and tries to take you down. Like he's that type of guy, but he does grapple some in his regional tape. Yeah, I mean, I like Armfield. I think his boxing is pretty good. I think he has decent combos, like he throws in combination, which is good. He has like I said, his boxing is good. It's not bad at all. But I think he's very hittable on the feet. That's the thing. Like I think he can get cracked on the feet. The Onama fight, I know that he went up a weight class, but like City is Onama size to me. Like, yeah, he's a 135er, but he's a big 135er. He's a tall, lengthy guy. But to me, City is a better technical striker than Onama. Onama's athletic, yes. He's got power, yes, but he's not technically sound when it comes to striking. And that's why in portions of that fight, you could see Armfield getting off on him, right? He was doing well in the striking. He's a damn good striker, and he was getting off. But the thing with City, and I think for me, is like people are looking down at him for getting clipped as much as he did against a guy like Tavares, right? He got hit a lot. He got dropped. He got fucking bleeding all over the place. But for me, I think Tavares is a much, much better boxer than Armfield. Tavares is a legit boxer. That's his whole background. He's a boxer, and he has a shit ton of power, Tavares. Like that left hand is a cannon. You know what I'm saying? So the difference also, I feel like, between Tavares and Armfield is Tavares is more, he moves a lot, right? He was moving a lot in that fight. He wasn't just sitting there and striking with him. And I don't think Armfield's going to do that. Armfield is just not a mover. He's going to try to just sit and trade. And I think that's where he's going to get in trouble. I like City working the body. I like City because he's got the kicking game. I think his striking is more complete. Armfield's all hands, really. He doesn't really kick. And City has the whole complete striking game. So the toughness I think both guys are tough. Don't get me wrong. I think Armfield's tough. I think City is extremely tough. But I favor the cardio in a huge way on the City side. And I know what you're saying. It does make sense that, Armfield gets tired in the fights where there's grappling involved. And I kind of agree with you. But, I look at some of these fights and like, what does Katona has no power, man. Like he has zero power. And and in that fight, I think there was 1 or 2 breaks for low blows in that fight. And I think that helped. That fucking helped Armfield as well. City's going to keep coming, man. He's got very, very, very good cardio. And even in the last fight, when he was nose broken, bleeding all over the place, he was the one fucking putting the pressure and the whole damn fight. So I like City round 2, round 3. I don't trust Armfield's cardio. I really don't. And I think he's going to get put to the test in the sense that he's going to get hit to the body a lot here. He's going to get teeped, kicked, you name it, to the body, and the pressure is going to be there. This is going to be him on his back. I don't think City is going to be on his back foot. I think it's Armfield going to be on his back foot, and I think that's where he's going to have problems by gassing. He's normally the guy on the front foot, but I think he's going to be on the back foot here, and I like City's game, honestly. I know last time out, and you know, some people cried robbery. I don't think so. I think Tavares won the fight, honestly. There was one round, I think it was round 2, where Tavares dropped him, but then City like mounted him and beat the shit out of him towards the end of the round. I still kind of gave that round to Tavares because he had the biggest moment, you know? So I did think it was a close fight, but Tavares, man, he's very hard to fight standing because his boxing is so good. Tavares is going to have trouble against grapplers. I don't think he's going to have a lot of trouble against strikers. So, yeah, round 2, round 3 for me. It's 1,200, 1,600. I just think City has much, much better cardio, in my opinion. Let's move on. Fight number 4. It is in the heavyweight division. It is a 17-3 Alexander Romanov versus the 11-2 Rodrigo Nascimento. And we got the fat Romanov back, Tim. 261 pounds. Did not look like he's in shape. There was some shit on his stomach. I don't even know what that was. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was gravy.
That's great. But honestly, like if anybody in chat saw that, what is that on the left side of his like body? It looked like bruising, but I couldn't really tell. I honestly couldn't tell what it was. It was like definitely looked like some type of bruising or something. You know, maybe it was gravy, like you mentioned. It's possible, dark gravy. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say here. Like it's Romanov early, right? He's gonna go early, try to get a takedown, right? I kind of like what I've seen from Rodrigo, like defending takedowns. I don't think he's bad. I know Lewis got him down. I know, you know, but it wasn't like conventional takedowns. Like it was kind of weird, right? Lewis got a body, like tripped him, whatever. He got right back up. It's Latifi fight. He stuffed a lot of takedowns. I was kind of happy with seeing that. And I think if he stuffs like 3 of them, Romanov's probably going to gas. You know what I'm saying? I think Rodrigo's the much better striker. He's got much better cardio, you know, all of that stuff, right? I don't even want to regurgitate all that stuff. I'm just going to go Rodrigo 2-3 again. It's going to be a theme of mine this whole night. But one guy has cardio. One guy has no cardio. 1,000, 1,400, very generous lines. I honestly thought they were going to be way lower. But I think those lines are generous. I know Rodrigo has been to decision quite a bit in the UFC. Tanner Boser, Latifi, Mays. But he also has KOs in round 2 previously. I mean, rear naked choke against Mays and a round 2 against Bordeaux. So I just think there's a lot of quit in Romanov, man. The guy is, you know, he is who we think he is. You know, I've heard from Nascimento's camp, he's going to go for the finish. He's going to try to break this guy. So that was enough for me. The tape was enough for me. Nascimento 2-3, 1,000, 1,400. Tim, what do you have here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. I like, I also think like round 1, obviously KO for Romanov. If he gets on top, there is obviously a chance that he could get the KO, but I like Nascimento round 2, round 3 as well. I think it's very possible in this fight that if Romanov does get on top, that if you're in Nascimento's corner and you're training him for this fight, you're just telling him just absolutely go full guard and just delay and just like don't, or try to get up. And if you can't get up, try to get guard and just make him work a little bit and try to just, throw up some submissions to like, just to fuck around, but like, don't let him pass at all and just waste as much time as you possibly can and get to round 2 and get to round 3. Nascimento's got good enough jiu-jitsu to stay safe in those situations. I think it would be a KO from Romanov if it's round 1, but yeah, I think it's Nascimento 2-3 as well.
So Dixon says the biggest love handles he's ever seen. Believe it or not, this is the best shape Nascimento's ever been in his UFC career. He weighed in, I think, 251, by far the lowest he's ever weighed in the UFC. Last time against Lewis, he was 265. The one before that, he was 264. Against Latifi, he was 264 and a half. So this was actually at 251, the best he's weighed since he's been in the UFC. So, and listen, I heard from his camp, and this is very close people to him, that he really did a lot of strength and conditioning this camp. So, listen, however he looks, he's still a heavyweight, but losing 13 pounds, 14 pounds, obviously he's in better shape for sure. So let's move on. Fight number 5. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 17-2 Jack Shore versus the 15-5-1 Yusuf Zalal. And this one's yours, Tim.
Some career resurgence from Yusuf Zalal. Pretty good stuff to see. I think it's a overcorrection on the market a little bit, though. Just doesn't seem like a guy that you can really trust at huge lines. He fights pretty close. Fighting the corpse of Billy Q and Jarno Aarons, who seemed to tap ultimately really, really quick in his last 2 fights. I don't know that it's like, I think they were both impressive fights, but I just don't know that the opponents were super challenging. That being said, Jack Shore to me seems like a guy that's a tweener. He's in between weight classes and really is kind of noodly for this weight class. So I feel like he's just one of those guys that's just like probably should be at the weight class under, but just doesn't seem to be able to make it or train hard enough to get to that point. I don't know which one is the case, but I just think that Yusuf's going to be bigger and stronger in this fight. Probably if I was on Jack, which I'm not, but I mean, Jack by split and Jack decision would be the way that I'd go if I was on him. I'm not on those though. I do think that they are good lines at 4-1 and 11-1 though. I think that those are actually really good lines. Typically with Jack, he's going to probably get some grappling success, fight pretty close on the feet with guys. So I don't hate anybody going for those shots. I'm going to take a shot the same way that Zalal has won his last 2 fights. I do think that it's probably a decision for Zalal, but I think it is possible that he could get Shore down and get a back take and get a rear naked choke again. It does look like he's had some success, obviously, in the last couple of fights. And I do think that Shore will grapple with him and just try to see who's better in that sense. So Zalal's sub is plus 750. Don't hate it. And like I said, I mean, if you're on Shore, I think the decision prop and split prop for him are really good.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised with the money line, and it just keeps going up, and Shore's up to 266 now. I see on Bet Online, and Zalal is minus 330 in some books. Yeah, he's looked impressive, but like when I look here, let me say this. Zalal's minus 330. The fight to go to distance is minus 250. One of those lines has to be wrong, in my opinion. It's like if Zalal goes 3 rounds, how in what fight has Zalal ever looked minus 300 in a decision, right? He fights very close. And I don't understand how you get to that line of minus 330 if they have the fight at going to decision at minus 250. I really don't. Do I think Zalal has more finishing upside? Absolutely. I do. But fight goes to decision. I mean, that big of a line. And then you got this huge money line on Zalal. I think it's wrong, honestly. I think Jack Shore, I agree with you that he's kind of a tweener. I agree with that. But he showed me something in the Joe Anderson Brito fight, honestly. He showed me that he can actually clinch with Joe Anderson Brito. He can separate. He turned Joe Anderson Brito multiple times in that fight. And Joe Anderson Brito, honestly, is super, super strong for 145. So for me, it was like, okay, if he could do that to Joe Anderson Brito and he could separate, he can separate with Zalal. I don't think Zalal is stronger than Joe Anderson Brito, right? And the Brito fight, it wasn't like a washout, bro. Like it really wasn't. I think the boxing, actually, the hands, Shore was doing better. It's the fact that he got his leg chopped off. You know what I'm saying? He got his leg chopped off. And the weird part is he went to check. How it opened up is he actually checked the kick and his whole shin exploded, right? So, I mean, how do you get to minus 330 on Zalal? Like, Jack Shore's a black belt. He's really good on the ground. He can proactively wrestle himself, and I think he can get Zalal down. To me, how I compare this fight, honestly, it's kind of a same fight like Damone Blackshear, honestly, because I think Shore is very good on the feet. I think he has good boxing. And then he's very good on the ground, and he can wrestle. So it's like, I don't see like Zalal being a huge favorite anywhere in this fight. If the fight hits the ground, I think it's close, very close. And if the fight's standing, I favor Zalal a little bit, but not like by a lot. So it's very weird to me that this line's so damn big. I maybe I'm wrong again, but I'm going with Shore decision 430, and then Shore split 1100. I just feel like those are big lines. Both guys are very durable, in my opinion. Zalal is extremely hard to finish, whether it be sub. I mean, he's been in some very, very deep subs, and he always gets out. He always gets out. The guy is just tough, and he's very, very hard to finish. So, for me, it's going to be, it's going to be this decision prop, and it's 430, and the split is 1100. I think Shore is the money line side, honestly, at this price. It's crazy that it's this big. I don't know. It's got to be recency bias. One guy got finished by the shin thing, and the other guy's on a winning streak, finishing guys, and that's how we get to this line.
Yeah, dude. What would this line have been 2.5 years ago? It'd be flipped. It'd be flipped.
Short favorite.
It'd be flipped. It would totally be flipped. Honestly, it'd be plus 200.
Shore would definitely be favored.
Yeah, minus 270 to minus 300 for sure.
I don't see how you could get to this price. I really don't. But maybe I'm like underestimating Zalal, possibly. But even in the Aaron's fight, man, he was like running away, kind of countering. He wasn't like doing much. And then finally, boom, gets a takedown, boom, gets his back, and it was over. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. Like I was saying the same thing. Like if you're on Shore, and I said the Zalal like sub is, I think it's a good. I think they're both good lines. Like I think Zalal sub is being underpriced. I don't necessarily know that it happens, but I definitely know that the Shore points and the Shore split are being massively underpriced.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Fight number 6. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 15-8-1 Charles Jourdain versus the 24-6 Victor Henry. I will kick this one off. Fuck, man. Jourdain looked incredible at weigh-ins at 135. Like, I think this is his division, honestly. Looking at the two guys, Jourdain a bit bigger, but not like by a lot. And this guy was fighting at 45, extremely undersized. Like, even looking at that Burgos fight, man, he looked so much smaller than Burgos, but he still put it on him. Like, the thing about Jourdain is he's extremely tough. Like, he's going to keep fighting. He's a tough guy. And the same thing can be said for Victor Henry. Like, looking at both of these guys, like, it's very, very hard to finish Charles Jourdain, right? But the same thing could be said for Victor Henry. The guy has 30 professional fights. He's never been finished. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to finish these guys. So the one area I could see, and this is where, split decision here is probably disgusting. It's not even worth it. I do think the scrambling ability of Henry is better than Jourdain. And I think Jourdain does make mistakes sometimes when he scrambles. I don't think it's highly plausible, but 10-1 on the Henry sub. I just think because Jourdain did grapple a lot versus Silva last one, right? He went for a lot of takedowns. He might not here against Henry. He could or could not, but if there is grappling involved, I do think the faster, the slicker guy on the ground is probably Henry. And I think maybe he can find something sneaky. I don't think it happens, to be honest. I really don't. There's not much else I like. That's the thing. So 10-1 sub Henry. Little poke there. Not really a big thing, but like I said, there's no other props that I really like on this fight, because I do think it goes to the decision at a very, very high clip here. Tim?
Yeah, I do too. I think super close fight on the feet. Probably a volume edge for Henry. Problem is he gets hit a lot as well. I don't think either one of these guys is like. I think, like you said, I think that Jourdain coming down to this weight class is the way to go. He's been he just seems like he's been massively outsized in some of these fights. I mean, like the Woodson fight, it was just hilarious how much smaller he was than Woodson. I mean, Woodson's much bigger than everybody, but it looked like he was 3 weight classes bigger. That being said, it's Canada, and Canada is going to give Charles the split decision here. Ends by split plus 275. Charles by split plus 550. Horrible lines. But yeah, it's going to be the only ones I really saw that I think that are really possible in this fight. I think it's going to go to decision and going to be probably razor close. And even if Jourdain loses, it's in Canada. He's probably going to get cheers every time he misses a jab. So
I want to throw up with that freaking split decision they're giving us.
So gross. It's so gross. You remember what they used to be, dude? This type of fight last year, like 2 years ago, this type of fight would be plus
550, 600, probably.
Plus 450, exactly. Plus 5.
No, even more than 5. The women's fights, if you remember correctly, women's fights were always plus 400,
yes.
Plus 370. We didn't even get 300s back then, ever. It was like 400s for women's fights. Men's were always over 5-1. Always.
So gross.
Now look at where they are.
We've moved the market on these fucking props.
They're completely fucking destroyed. And the judges have moved the market on them as well. All right, let's move on. Fight number 5. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 17-9 Ariane Lipsky versus the 11-3 Jasmine Jasdavicius. Tim, kick us off.
So this line's gotten fucking hammered. So I don't know if it has as much value now as it did before. I bet it already. I bet it a couple days ago, I think, maybe a day and a half ago. Jasmine KO 2, Jasmine KO 3, Jasmine KO just in general. It was 1,100, and then the KO 2 I got it 3,300. KO 3 is 4,800. I think it's like 25 and 33 to 1 now, something like that. I do think that they're still bettable. I might think that there's ask you as well. I mean, maybe it's better to just do round 2, round 3 for her at this point with those lines. But I think it's just so obvious to me that, if you can get Lipsky / Silva down on the ground, she can be finished by the Walmart Shevchenko on the ground. And then Montana De La Rosa both finished her with ground and pound round 2. I think that Jasmine's just way better grappler than both of those girls. I think she's physically stronger, better takedowns. And she's shown in her last couple fights that she's throwing vicious ground and pound and trying to actually finish fights now. So, I mean, that Cachoeira fight, we all had round 2, round 3 props on her. And the round 2-3 KO was like ridiculous lines as well. It should have been stopped like 4 times in that fight. She ended up getting the sub, but that fight should have been a massive KO fight. Dixon, this is definitely lotion fight of the year, lotion fight of the card for sure. It is not Horth versus Petrovic. So yes, 100%. This is a hotness fight for sure. So yeah, get a KO for us, Jasmine. Get it in round 2, round 3 for the culture, please.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything. I do think Silva can be had if she gets to like advantageous positions. And honestly, like, yeah, she doesn't have a lot of finishes, but man, she's mean, dude. She's literally mean. She wants to like fucking open you up, destroy you while she's on top. But I'm not fucking around with just KO though, man. I'm not, because I know Lipsky's never been sub, but I'm just not going to do that. And you know, it would be Max Payne if she finished her in 2 or 3 and it was sub, you know, like an arm triangle or something. She gave up or whatever. I'm just doing 2-3 and then I'm sprinkling those KOs. I did bet them as well. You know, 25-1 and 35-1. There's out there right now. I just think, like, what is Jasmine gonna do in this fight? And I already know, like, she's gonna go balls to the wall to try to get the fight to the ground, and I think she's gonna be successful. And then the thing that's left is she gonna finish? Right? That's where we get to, is she gonna actually finish the fight once she's on top? Is she gonna get to mount and, you know, lay down the ground and pound and stuff like that? And I don't know. I bet it earlier in the week as well. You know, it was 29-1 and 40-1 KO 2-3. But, you know, I still think they're bettable lines, like extremely bettable at 25 and 35. So, yeah, I'm just going round 2, round 3. It's 10-1, 16-1. But then I have the 2-3 sprinkled for KO as well. Let's move on. Fight number. By the way, I don't want to discount Lipsky at all. I think she's improved. Her takedown defense is improved. I think she has very good striking. She's got power in her hands too. Like, and let's not forget, like, Jasmine can get lit up right on the feet. But she's tough, man. She's not easy. Like, we saw the other Silva land a shit ton on her, head kicks, all types of stuff, and she just wouldn't go away. She kept coming forward. So she's a zombie, and I would be surprised if Lipsky actually finished her on the feet, you know? So, yeah, let's move on. Fight number 8. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 11-2 Ayman Zahabi versus the 20-9 Pedro Munhoz. Stand-up fight. Fight goes to decision. I don't think either guy is getting finished here. Munhoz by decision. I was kind of surprised to see the line, honestly. 215. I mean, I don't think he's finishing Zahabi. I don't think Zahabi's finishing him. And it leaves us with this money line. I mean, this decision line that's, you know, almost $1 more. I would want it to be obviously more. The split line on these are disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Maybe the only thing I honestly think of is maybe Munhoz finds some like haymaker that he can possibly knock out. You know, I don't see Zahabi knocking this dude out. I don't. Because Munhoz is fucking tough as nails. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm coming up with this decision at 215. I just don't see the fight not going decision unless it's injury or something like that. So give me a decision. It's a Toyota Corolla, used one, at plus 215. Tim, you?
Yeah, this fight is gross. And split plus 250. Zahabi split Canada, Canada plus 500. It's the same thing, man. These are just it's really tough to be betting like these lines and giving them out. But
I'll be honest with you, people shouldn't bet 250. It's just disgusting.
It's the same. It's the same as like, yeah, it's not anything other than this is the prop that I think is the highest number that I think is most likely going to happen. But I'm not going to bet it. Like normally,
you're saying from a value perspective, there's just no value.
There's no value on it. Yeah, there's no value on it, but it is the most likely highest number prop that I think that'll hit was the plus 250 and the plus 500 for Zahabi. But like we said earlier, man, this is just, it's getting to the point. The round 2-3 is getting a little bit better on some of these fights, but I think that they've just overcorrected so badly on these split decision props. So, yeah.
You know what? I'm surprised, honestly. I'm very, very surprised that this line has moved and moved and moved. And I'm looking at like fucking Munhoz is plus 130 now. And the thing that kills me is look at the guys Munhoz has lost to. Just look at them. They're murderers row, dude. Like Marlon Vera, Kyler Phillips, Dominic Cruz, Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar 4 years ago by split, Aljamain Sterling, John Dodson. Like he's literally lost to the best guys. And now he's a dog to Ayman Zahabi. I honestly don't get it. You want to talk about recency bias? This is fucking recency bias, guys. Because Ayman Zahabi, he beat Javid Bashrat as a man. If people forgot,
yes,
let me just remind them. He was a 6-1 dog. A plus 600 dog to Javid Bashrat. He won the fight, and now all of a sudden he's the favorite against Munhoz.
And he's never throwing a ton, ever. Like he's never.
How the fuck is he the favorite in this fight? Honestly, how? How is that Green Earth? It
doesn't make sense, but the Kyler fight with Munhoz is kind of like.
But Kyler's so much better than Zahabi, so much faster. Kyler can grapple better. You name it.
Without a doubt. It just looked like that fight to me just looked like the volume and just like the dog that you would normally get in Munhoz was like just not the same.
Bro, but how do we get to dude? Marlon Vera was plus 155. He was plus.
I don't agree with it either. Yeah, I agree.
How on God's green earth is his price right?
I
get it. Munhoz is 38. I get it, but he's still fucking competitive with all these guys.
Zahabi is really heavy on his front foot too. So like I think that's going to set up Munhoz best.
Honestly, I don't care. Like I don't want to bet these older guys, but I might bet him here. I really might because. This keeps going up, and it's fucking weird. Like, it's weird. I don't rate Ayman Zahabi that high. I really don't. And I don't know, because he –
so easy just said it. It's not like Zahabi's young, dude. The guy's fucking old, too.
I know, man. Like, what's his best win? This is a guy that lost to Vince Morales, bro.
Javid is his best win, clear as day.
This fucker lost to Vince Morales. I don't know. It's fucking weird. Weird line movement on this one. And he's up to 130, and I might just bet him now. Anyways, let's move on. Fight number 9. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 10-2-1 Mike Mallett versus the 16-6 Trevin Giles. Tim, this one's yours, my man.
Oh, so, I mean, I've been all over the board on this fight. I'm super biased. I've been biased on Mike Mallett his whole career. Buddy of mine is his sister is married to Mike, so I've had a bunch of connections with him, and is just over the years from Canada. I think this is actually a tough fight.
Hold on one second. Didn't you hold his water bottle once at training? There you go.
Yeah, I feel like this is a tough fight to call for a bunch of different reasons. I think that it's possible that Mike could have a overcorrection in how he fights in this fight after burning himself out in the last one against Magny. Thing is that Giles snatches defeat from the jaws of victory in so many fights, and he just is a guy that's just like, you just watch him winning and you're like, this is great. What a great bet. And then he gets bonked, or he's what a great bet, puts his neck in a guillotine. Like, just always seems to make critical mistakes, but he's extremely talented fighter and he's extremely skilled fighter. So I think Mike's going to respect that. Mike and Giles had a grappling fight where Mike won by decision 2 years ago, wasn't able to get the sub. And I think it's a little bit different in this. Obviously, you can strike, so the club and sub is going to be super there. I'm going to go Mike by KO plus 250. KO 2 is plus 1,000. I don't hate anybody that like is on the Giles by decision or Giles by split. I think it's going to be tough to get it in Canada, but Giles is 5-0 in decisions, and I think if the fight goes like 5-1 and 14-1 are really good lines for him. He's got a great jab, and I think that people are kind of like, I just think that they're just assuming that he's going to fuck up, and they have every reason to think that he usually does. But he is 5-0 in decisions, and I think it's kind of stupid to line 5-1 and 14-1 on him to win a decision. So obviously, I'm a Mike Mallett guy, so I'm not going to pick those as my picks. But I think anybody that's on those, I think those are good bets if you're on the Giles side. So KO plus 250, KO 2 is plus 1,000. I don't know. I thought the KO 3 might have been like, I don't know, something 18-1 or something like that. I don't think it's going to happen in 3, to be honest. I think it's probably going to be 1 or 2. How about you?
Wow, I'm surprised you went with KO. I mean, I can't bet anything on Giles anymore, man. This guy just crumbles, man. Honestly, I take it back. I think both guys crumble. I'm watching back that Mallett loss last time, Tim, against Magny. That was 15 seconds remaining, and he was given every fucking chance to win that fight, right? He was up 2-0. He was given a million chances. Move. He just decided to sit there and just eat punches, bro. It didn't even turn, nothing. And to me, that was a quit job. He quit. He absolutely quit there. And it was fucking disgusting to see, knowing that he was 15 seconds away from a W. Like, you win, bro. Like, you just move. Try to grab his hand. Do something. He didn't do anything but eat punches. Like, it was mind-boggling to see that with 15 seconds left. But the other thing is the way he crumbled. Like, it didn't look like he was tired in round 3. He was on top. He got takedowns. The minute the fight turned and he was on bottom, he died. And I feel like, one, he was tired. Don't get me wrong. But 2, I think he was mentally broken. And he gave up. He literally gave up in that fight, which is very, very bad to see. Giles, on the other hand, looks fucking great. Beating the shit out of Carlos Prates in round 1. Looking incredible. I'm like, holy fuck. Giles is back. And then he gets destroyed in round 2. Blanchfield fight, he got taken down, choked out. Then you have all these other fights, man. Morales, he was looking good early, crumbles. Duplessis fight, looking good, crumbles. And it's like an over and over. Mearshart in round 3, Zach Cummings in round 3. And it's like over and over and over and over again with this guy. He just absolutely crumbles. He's talented, man. I keep saying this. The guy has good striking. He's a good grappler. It's mentally, he's just not strong, I guess. I really don't know what it is, but I do think the guy is talented. He's got a good jab. He's got good boxing. He's very fast. He looks the part. I mean, he's built. He's athletic. I just don't get it with this dude. I kind of lean sub 2-3 here for Mallett, Tim. I think, again, I think Giles is going to look okay early. He's going to be fast. He's going to look good. I think he's the better striker of the two, right? And then something's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe he slips on a banana peel. Maybe fucking Mallett does something. I don't know, but he's going to fall apart per usual. And I think it's more likely sub, in my opinion. Sub 2-3 is 550 for Mike Mallett. I know his cardio hasn't looked great, But I do think the correction is going to come here with him, with what happened last fight. I kind of think he's going to take it easier in round 1. He's going to go slower. He's not going to rush any takedowns or anything like that. And I think it's going to come out at a slow pace. And I think maybe he's going to try to turn it up later on in the fight. So that's why I kind of went with 2-3 here. Coming off a finish in round 3 where you were this freaking close to winning the fight, I think maybe mentally he's going to start a little slower here. It might not be good. Don't get me wrong. It might be bad in the sense that he might get lit up by Giles in round 1, but I think he's going to have an overcorrection here, and that's what he's going to do. So yeah, 2-3 sub for me here on Mike Mallett. I do think he finishes Giles, and it's kind of a get right spot, but this might be the last contract on Giles's last fight on Giles's contract. And some guys just, they do better when it's their last fight, so let's move on. You know what? One thing we haven't mentioned all day, which is pretty weird. We haven't mentioned the 12-6 elbows, the ground knees to a guy that's grounded. I mean, it's going to come into play in some of these fights. I'm almost certain, right? So I want people to keep that in the back of their mind. That's one way that we can get more finishes on this card. All right, let's move on. Fight number 10 in the middleweight division. It is a 16-8 Marc-Andre Barriault versus the 15-6 Dustin Stoltzfus, and I will kick this one off. It's my daily or my weekly or my, I should say my quarterly, because Marc-Andre Barriault probably fights once every 4 months or 5 months. So it's my quarterly bet on the round 2, round 3 prop for Marc-Andre Barriault. He's come through for me a couple of times now. It's 700 and 900 now. It went a little bit down, but it's most likely KO, but it's only like $1 difference. Don't burn yourself like that. I do think Stoltzfus is very tough. I do think Stoltzfus has some decent grappling. I think he has an advantage on the ground. But also Stoltzfus has looked tired in some of these fights later on. Dwight Grant fight, for instance, he looked very, very tired late. And both guys looked. Dwight Grant looked like he was going to have a heart attack in round 3, And then you see in the Meerschaert fight, he got submitted. He was very tired in that fight. I don't think Dustin's like a gasser per se, but this guy that he's facing makes people gas. Like if you're on the brink of gassing, which I think Dustin's kind of that, he's kind of on the edge, right? He's not really a gasser. Then Marc-Andre Barriault might make you gas. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's 2-3 for Barriault here. I do think Dustin's live to win. Honestly, I don't think, like if I was playing money line side, I couldn't play Marc-Andre Barriault at this price. It would probably be Dustin. But I do think he might break him here later in the fight. So I'm taking 2-3. Also, very important to mention, a fun stat or a fun news clip or whatever you want to call it. But I was listening to an interview for Dustin Stoltzfus. He got an okay from the doctor 2 weeks ago. He did not do any sparring. He did not get punched, did nothing. He was doing strength and conditioning and cardio probably. But he got the clear to fight 2 weeks ago. Because of that elbow that fractured his jaw. He had nerve damage in his face. Fucking, what do you mean 2 weeks ago? You're fighting after 2 weeks, getting cleared. And that was a bad spinning elbow knockout. And I know Barriault got knocked out too. Like, don't get me wrong, against Pfeiffer. But that was nowhere near as bad as this guy's. With the nerve damage, this. And also, that was June 29th. That was about the same time, I should say. It wasn't. This one's actually early. But this guy's nerve damage and the fucking broken jaw and only being released by a doctor 2 weeks ago to fucking, have contact. It's crazy to me that this guy's fighting now. He couldn't have had a real camp. I mean, I get it. He trained and stuff like that, but he didn't have a real camp. He couldn't have. So that's another thing that went in my mind. Say, hey, you know what? 2-3 might even be better here. So yeah. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm on the same things for the same reasons. I don't think that taking a stab at round 2 sub or round 3 sub for MAB are bad either. But like round 2, 700, round 3, 900. The round 2, I don't know if you saw the sub lines, but round 2 sub is 44-1. Round 3 sub is 50-1. I think it's possible that he could get him in a guillotine, kind of similar to the one that he got against. I think it was Beverly Hills Ninja.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that it's Stoltzfus is a guy that is he's a better grappler, and it's not going to be something I don't think it's going to be something where it's like a takedown and a processed sub. It's either a club and sub or it's a, hurt him on the feet, get him in. Stoltzfus has him clinched and then goes for a shitty takedown and he kind of catches him. I think it's not as likely as a clinch KO or as like a cook him type KO in 2 or 3, but I mean 44 and 50-1, like those are kind of stupid lines when you're giving 7-1 on a round 2 and a 9-1 on a round 3.
Yeah, let's call it the cook him KO. That's the cook him. He's gonna get the cook him KO. Yeah, let's move on. Fight number 11. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is the 8-3-1 Caio Machado versus the 15-7 Brandonson Ribeiro. Tim, kick us off here.
Caio's coming down weight. Seems like he's lost like 45 to 50 pounds here. Probably the right weight class for him, but definite concerns, obviously. You're taking off this much weight. Heavyweight movement to light heavyweight versus the other way around is a pretty historical bad move for fighters. For a few different reasons. Obviously, their chin's going to be worse. The second is usually they're just like way slower. Like if you're a guy that's kind of a tweener and you're going from light heavyweight to heavyweight, you have a big speed advantage, which in Caio's situation, that was kind of one of the things that he did well. He would have a speed advantage against guys. In this fight, Brenson Ribeiro for me is like, he's like a glass cannon. Like he just seems like one of those dudes that can just fuck anybody up in the first round and then die. He seems to have good grappling. He seems to have good power, just big shots, things like that. Doesn't have really any process striking. Seems like he's physically really strong. I think that the Caio subline is stupid in this fight. I think it's plus 900. The round 2 is 600. Round 3 is 1100. The sub 2-3 is 25 and 39. I like the sub more than anything out of this fight. It is possible that Brenson could just like hold guard for 3 rounds like he did in against that Russian fighter, which would suck. But yeah, give me like the 2-3 variations in Caio by sub. I think that those are the way to go here. I just think he's a better grappler. And I think if Ribeiro tries to get up, he'll give him positions to sub him. So
yeah. I mean, Ribeiro looked in great shape, man. Career best, but so did Machado, right? Both guys looked in very good shape. Machado down a lot of weight, man. He looked really good, and it could be good. It could be bad. It's to be determined. The one thing I will say is like, just because, he lost so much weight and looks in better shape doesn't mean his cardio is going to look good. I don't know. Maybe that all this weight he cut off might look worse, his cardio. The other thing is his chin. How is his chin going to look? I know he's been taking punches at heavyweight, but he was weighing as a heavyweight. Now he weighs at 205. He's cut a shit ton of weight. How is he going to take punches at 205 now? And the other thing is the speed, right? I think Ribeiro's got the faster hands. He's faster. He's the natural 205er. And Machado is terrible defensively to the 1-2. And Brenson Ribeiro's favorite punch is the 1-2. He's got very, very long arms. I think he's got like 80-inch reach. He hits very, very hard with his right hand, and he cracks people with that thing. And Masado gets hit a lot, man. And he's been hurt in multiple fights. Don't get it twisted. The guy has been hurt, and I think Ribeiro's the biggest puncher he's faced by a mile. None of these guys that he's faced, like Parkin or Mays, okay, he has a little power, but I think Ribeiro hits harder, like pound for pound, right? Because now he's at 205, and he throws straight punches, man. And Machado doesn't see him coming. That's the thing. Like, he's fighting southpaw, and I know Ribeiro hasn't fought really southpaws much, but the 1-2 is the perfect fucking punch against the southpaw. And he's long, and he's fucking long, man. And he's gonna land them, in my opinion. It's about, can Machado take them? And I don't know. KO1 is what I like here for Ribeiro. Like, if he lands, it could be night for this Machado guy. So it's plus 950. I think you can find some places. That's where I like it. That's where I like him to finish the fight. And then I do like Machado sub that you mentioned. It's 9-1. I'm not going 2-3 or whatever. It could be one, maybe he takes him down around 1. And, this Bretson guy, Ribeiro, loves guillotines. And it could be good and it could be bad, where, he's going for a guillotine. He allows the guy to, get him down. And if you're good with your jiu-jitsu, you're not going to get subbed by a guillotine. You're going to go to side. And I think, Caio possibly can find a sub here. It's 9-1. So that's how I'm looking at this. KO1, 915, 9-1 on the sub, Machado. I think those are decent value lines. You want to say anything, Tim?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think if you're on Ribeiro, I think it's a great line on the KO1.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Fight number 12. It is in the heavyweight division. It is 28-12. Derek Lewis versus the 8-0 Johannata Diniz. And weird stuff happening in this fight. Derek Lewis doesn't show up to the face-offs. I have no idea what happened. It's the first time I've ever seen it. They announced Diniz. He comes up, and then the announcer says, I have some very bad news for everyone. Derek Lewis didn't make it to the face-off, to the weigh-ins, ceremonial weigh-ins. And they're like, everybody's like booing. But then he's like, the announcer's like, but the fight's going to Derek Lewis will show up tomorrow to the fight. The fight's happening. But he didn't show up to the ceremonial weigh-ins. What the fuck happened? Does anybody know? Like, I have a lot of people in here, 348. Does anybody know, like, have any info? Why the hell did this guy not show up to the ceremonial weigh-ins? So weird. I don't know what happened, but outside of that, I do think that Diniz is the better striker, obviously. He's got more technical skills on the feet. He can kick that calf, which we know Derek Lewis, he doesn't know anything about calf kicking. He doesn't know what to do with those things. But from, family emergency, says Valan. Okay. Family emergency in Canada? What is he, flying back and then flying back to Canada? Maybe. It can't be weight cutting issue. That was, he already cut the weight. He was fine at weigh-ins. I saw him. He was fine. I heard that he's going to grapple here. Somebody was watching him train, and they were saying he was training grappling. It's all he was doing, trying to shoot for takedowns and doing ground and pound stuff. So it's from a legit person that actually saw him. So it could be grappling. Doesn't mean he's going to get Diniz down. I don't know. Diniz is not good off his back. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think like Lewis is some killer on top either. I don't think he's like, does he have heavy hands? Sure. But I don't think he's like the kind of guy that's going to pass and do stuff like that. I don't see it. Maybe from guard, he lands big shots, but it's still hard to finish people like that, So I have a sneaky one here, Tim. I think Lewis round 3/decision is 5-1. I like Lewis round 3 as well. Like I like 3 decision because it could hit at 5. Sorry, it's plus 550. But round 3 alone is 1,500. And I just finished watching this Johanna to Diniz guy pick apart Carl Williams for 2 rounds, chop his leg off, do all this stuff. Then the minute he got taken down in round 3, he got mounted and just absolutely got clobbered for the last 20. If that fight was like another minute or 2, he's done. He probably would have got finished. So after seeing that, and I know Lewis has some finishes in round 3, why not take a shot? How about if Lewis gets a takedown in round 3, right? And now this guy is death gas. There's no shot he's going to get up. He could fucking finish him. So I took 3 decision at 550 and then round 3 sprinkle at 15-1. What do you got here?
When you said you were going to go sneaky, I thought you were going to steal mine, dude. No, you're good. We're good.
I am not playing the sub. No. Go ahead.
That would be really sneaky. I'm not playing the sub either. I think that this fight is I obviously when I'm going to say this, I'm going to do my breakdown and it's going to be like a 30-second KO by one of these guys. But I like this fight going to decision, and I think that it's very possible that Diniz could win a decision or a split here. Ends by split is plus 1,200. These are the kind of ones that you want to hit. And Diniz by points is plus 750, plus 2,000. It could be a situation where it's like we don't know the durability on Diniz. Like, obviously, Lewis hits like a fucking truck, but I think it's very possible that Diniz could come out and be like pretty scared of the power and just like staying at range and not really throwing everything into his shots, kicking, being way more technical and just trying to stay away from a fight. And then you get some possible moments from the Lewis side and some possible bigger shots that might sway one judge. So yeah, I like the decision prop for Diniz plus 750, split for him is plus 2,000, and split is plus 1,200.
I don't mind it. I mean, he could. The other thing is he could chop his leg, and on optics, just kind of win rounds, you know. All right, let's move on. Fight number 13. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 13-6 Rose Namajunas versus the 12-2 Aaron Blanchfield. And this one's yours, Tim.
Man, this is a really good fight. I've been taking, you know what? I've been winning on a bunch of these girls' fights for like Rose had her in a bunch of fights. I think I've lost one time on a Rose fight. And then Aaron, my first loss with Aaron was against Manon, where she got absolutely sodomized in that fight for 25 minutes in front of everybody. This fight is really interesting. Obviously, it's pretty binary. I think that without takedowns, I think Aaron is slower on the feet, less processed. Striking is not great. The only fight that have really been impressed by her fight striking, and I thought that she was kind of growing, was the Andrade fight. That being said, Andrade tends to strike and get in the pocket and be hittable versus everybody. So I don't know if that was just kind of like the outlier. Everybody kind of looks good striking against Andrade until they get knocked out by her. But it's so hard for me to look at these last few fights with Aaron and want to be like, and I am on the Aaron side in this fight. So I'm worried about my bet on it, but it's just like, dude, she hasn't gotten a takedown in forever. Ever. Hasn't been able to. And I'm basically banking on the fact that I think that Rose is more noodly than the last few fighters that she's fought against. And you can actually get Rose down. Problem with this also is that, I mean, if you had told me that Rose was getting, 4 takedowns and more takedowns than Tracy Cortez, I'd have told you pre-fight that you're out of your mind. And she clearly looked really, really good offensively wrestling in that fight. So That being said, I do think that this fight will hit the ground. I do think that it's possible that Rose might even get a takedown and go to the ground with Erin. I think that that would be a tragic mistake for her because I do think that Erin's jiu-jitsu is significantly better than Rose's. Rose is sneaky with jiu-jitsu, but she is just not nearly the same on the ground. And I think it's possible to get a sweep. I think it's possible that Erin might get a takedown at some point. And when she does, give me the sub plus 450. I think it could also happen late if as Rose starts to get a little bit tired or a little bit bored, which she tends to do in fights. I just think that there's a huge difference on the ground. I think it's a little bit bigger than people are giving credit for Erin if the fight does hit the ground either way, either if she gets the takedown or if Rose gets the takedown. So give me Erin by sub plus 450. I don't hate shots on 3-4-5 at 20, 27, and 32 to 1 either.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it's a buy low spot for Blanchfield. I think the matchup is much better than her previous 2 matchups, honestly. And the reason why I say that is physicality, man. You know, Blanchfield is physical, but she went up against 2 girls that are much stronger and much more physical. Like I watched the Santos fight, man. And I honestly, I loved the shots she took there, like the takedowns. She had double legs very, very deep. And Santos just super fucking strong, man. She couldn't get her down. She could not fucking get her down. And Santos, like I said, like she's strong, man. She's very, very strong for 25. Much, much stronger than Rose. Like it's not even close, right? She hits very, very hard, Santos too. The other thing is in that fight, in that Santos fight, if you recall, Santos actually tried to take her down and ended up on bottom against Blanchfield. Blanchfield ended up on top in that fight. And then the Ferro fight, like she didn't really go for many takedowns. Like Ferro has very good footwork and she's super strong as well. I think she kind of knew when they were clinching at certain points, she's like, I can't get this girl down. Like she's just way bigger, way stronger. I can't take her down. I don't think that's the case with Rose. I think Rose is, I think she's a tweener too. I think she's like between 15 and 25. Yes, they're about the same size, but when you look at physicality, I don't think Rose is physical at all. You know, the takedowns that she was getting against Cortez were like inside trips, like weird, little takedowns. And then when Cortez really committed to takedowns like double legs, she instantly got Rose down, like both times, very, very fast. But Cortez just doesn't have the jiu-jitsu or the top control like Erin Blanchfield. It's not even close. And I think this is a get-right spot, honestly, for Blanchfield. I think Blanchfield is going to get her down. I'm almost certain she's going to get her down. And I think, yes, Rose is good on the ground, but I think she can be had. Like, this is definitely the best jiu-jitsu girl that Rose has faced in a long time. Is Ribas good? Yeah, sure. But her top control is not very good. It's not like Erin Blanchfield. And I think Blanchfield can find the sub here. She's been sub before. Esparza years back, sub Rose,
Jillian killed her in a jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah, that's jiu-jitsu. That's fine. I don't really want to reference that too much because it's just straight jiu-jitsu.
I'm just saying, just the fight itself, it was not even remotely close, and she fucking killed her. And I would say Erin's equal to better on the jiu-jitsu than Rose.
And the thing is, Ribas got Rose down a bunch of times, and I don't think Ribas is not some good wrestler either. Does she have jiu-jitsu? Sure, but she's not known for her wrestling. And I could say that I think Erin's actually a better like overall wrestler because I think she does wrestling stuff. She shoots for double legs. She's trying to chain wrestle. You know what I'm saying? That's not what fucking Ribas does. And Ribas still got her down. Yeah, she's a judo girl, mainly Ribas, I don't know. I think Blanchfield gets her down. I think Blanchfield gets a sub here, like you said. It's 450. I was hoping we would get like 7-1, 8-1, just because she hasn't gotten takedowns. And I'm like, man, they're going to give us a great line. Nope. 450 only. But I think she has 5 rounds to work with. I do think that lately, from me watching these fights, I think the better cardio is on Blanchfield. I think Rose has been looking a little shaky later in these fights. So I like Blanchfield here a good amount. I think she's going to get the sub here. I think that it's a buy low spot on her on the money line as well. How far down has it gone? Because I know there was two-way action, and then I guess it went up a little bit more now. Not really. 134 on FanDuel, 135 on Caesars. It's still around the same. It hasn't really moved much. 135 or 129. 135 on Bet Online. Yeah. I still think there's value there, honestly. I just favor Aaron here. I think she's the more physical girl. Yes, Rose is the better striker. Definitely. Better footwork, faster, you name it. But I also think Aaron can compete there. She's going to kick her way into range. She landed a lot of shots on Talia Santos. Go back and watch the fight. She landed a lot of shots on Talia Santos. So, and I do think the girl that's going to improve here is Aaron. Who's going to improve out of these two? Rose is a finished product. She is who she is. But Aaron's not a finished product. She's still, 25? She's going to get better. Her striking is going to get better. She's going to get stronger. She's still not in her physical prime. You know what I'm saying? You need like 27, 28. She's going to get stronger and stronger. So Aaron's not huge. I don't know why this guy keeps saying Aaron's huge. Where's Aaron huge? She's not huge. They're about the same size at face-offs. Aaron might be a little bit thicker, but she's not huge. I wouldn't say Talia Santos and fucking Manon Ferro are huge. That's
on UFC stats. Aaron is smaller by an inch height-wise.
Oh, Andrade is short though, man. Andrade is short. But yeah, Aaron looked a little bit shorter than Rose there at face-offs. Anyway, 13 fights we've got through so far. Guys, do me a favor, guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen. Can you hit the like down below? Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, please. 378 live viewers. I appreciate you all. Yeah, there's not much else to be said, Tim. Let's move on. Main event time. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 21-8-2 Brandon Moreno versus the 17-1 Amir Albazi. And I will kick this one off. I have a bet on Moreno. Flat out, I bet him earlier in the week. I gave it to the Dub Club at minus 150. I think he's upwards of 170 now. I think he's going to continue to climb, to be honest. I think he might even hit close to 200 by fight time. Another spot, I'm buying low here. I'm buying low because, Brandon Moreno, to me, watching back that Royval fight, it's not about being shot. I just feel like something was wrong with him. I went back and watched that fight. He won rounds 1 and 2. He landed some big shots on Royval. But in rounds 3 through 5, he did nothing, dude. He was running away. It was so weird to see a guy like Moreno, who's always on the front foot, running away. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Is this guy hurt? What's the deal with him? What happened to him? So it was extremely weird. Possibly could be an injury. I don't know. But when I look at Amir Albazi, I think he's a good fighter. I think he's got good striking. I think he's got good grappling. He's an overall good fighter. Where he lacks, 1, to me, is volume. He just doesn't throw enough volume. 2, I think his gas tank is suspect to me, because I went back and watched a couple of his fights where he was kind of pushed. And I don't think, for instance, the Kai Kara France in round 5, he definitely slowed down a lot. He was tired, right? And there was not much grappling in that fight. The other fight that I saw that he was very tired is Zumagulov fight, round 3. Again, he was tired in that fight. And Moreno brings a pace normally. I'm not talking about last fight. Moreno brings a crazy pace, man. Like, this guy's coming forward, throwing a ton of strikes. He's mixing and grappling. And I know some people seem to think that Albazi, has some grappling upside here. I don't think so. I think he's going to get fucked up if he decides to grapple with Moreno. I think Moreno's going to out-scramble him. He's going to get on top, and he's going to make it a nightmare for him, honestly, if he decides to grapple. So, the other thing to mention, you have to mention it, right? This dude had heart surgery. This dude had a spine surgery, a C5, C6 or something. He's got 2 surgeries. He's been out of the game for almost a year, right? Maybe even more. Let me see. Has it been a year? More. Year and a half almost. He's been out, right? After the Kaikara France. So you put all these things together, and then the recency bias on this line, because Moreno lost against Royval the last 2 he lost by split. Both very close fights to high level fighters. And now all of a sudden Albazi, you're getting this generous line. I don't think Albazi, he's good, don't get me wrong, but Kaikara France, did he really win that fight? I mean, he was super close. Did he win that fight? I don't know. Spine surgery, heart surgery. Now you got to face the toughest test of your life in front of a huge crowd. It's a big prove me spot for Albazi. Meanwhile, Moreno's been there. And also, the last thing to mention, I have to mention it because Moreno's still the younger guy of these two. He's 30 years old. He's literally in his prime. So if it's the old Moreno, Tim, I think Moreno should be minus 250 to 300 if it's the old Moreno. So give me Moreno here. Rounds 3, 4, and 5, Tim. I think he's going to break him, man. If this is the old Moreno, he's going to absolutely break this guy in the later rounds. It's 1,500, 2,000, and 3,000. Brandon Moreno's back, my friends. The assassin baby by finish late.
Where did you get the 2,000 and 3,000 for 4 and 5? Just curious. You're muted.
Let me look it up for you, Tim. 2,000 and 3,000. Where did we get it? Well, one of them is for sure. Bet365 has 3,000 on Moreno, and 2,000. Bet365. I think Hard Rock as well has. Let me make sure because I don't want to lead people the wrong way, but I'm pretty sure it was Hard Rock. Hard Rock as well has Moreno. Actually, has better lines. 2,250 on round 4 and 3,000 on round 5 for Moreno. So, Hard Rock has the lines. Bet365 has the lines. I like Moreno late.
Yeah, I mean, I would go on a limb, and I mean, I could be way wrong on this, but when I was taping these guys fighting, and I was thinking to myself, like, am I wrong to think that Brandon Moreno is a better wrestler than Albazi? Like, I think he could be, honestly. Like, he might be a better wrestler as well. I mean, he seems noodly when you look at their bodies. You're like, oh, this guy's probably super noodly compared to Albazi, but it's just like, dude, muscles don't win fights. Like, they don't. Like, Kaikara France got 2 takedowns on Albazi. Like, his takedown defense is, I think Wheezy was saying in the chat, like, his takedown defense isn't great. Like, if you're saying, like, how many takedowns does Albazi get versus Pantoja, I would be leaning none. Moreno got 2 against Pantoja. He's gotten multiple takedowns against Davison. Like, the strength of competition against these guys is fucking hilarious. One has fought Davison like 4 times, and one has fought the dollar store Figueiredo. Like, it's just interesting to me to be like, all right, I don't know. I think that this is like you said, could be a major buy low spot on Moreno. But to say that I'm not concerned with the last fight against Royval would be insane. Like even against Pantoja, I kind of felt like both those fights weren't split. I felt like they were both unanimous for.
No way! Come on, Pantoja fight was a war, bro. How could you be disappointed in that fight? If that version of Moreno shows up, he's going to absolutely cook this guy.
The Royval fight, I was more concerned with than the Pantoja fight. But I feel like I just feel like this is one of those fights where it's like I agree with you. I think it's good. Brandon Royval. Brandon Moreno is a 3-4-5 cook-em situation. Bad Brandon Moreno, it's an end split fight for me. Like I just think that it's one of those two options. I'm gonna lean with you though on the 3-4-5 that he cooks him and that he does more damage than Kai in the last fight and has more success cooking him in the end of the fight. But I do think that this is like we see these 5-round fights, man, and it's just like I don't know. These judges are just so fucking on drugs when they're watching these fights. So if it does go, I could see some serious fuckery just as normal.
I do want to say one thing. I have it in my notes too. It's important to say. One thing that Moreno is kind of susceptible to, he's got to be careful. And Albazi throws it a lot. It has a lot. And I will say Albazi has underrated power. He has a lot of power in his hands. It's the uppercut. Albazi throws a very, very nasty, sneaky uppercut with a lot of power in it. And Moreno ducks a lot there when he's throwing. Honestly, I could see a world where he eats one of those. And hopefully not for my sake. But that's an area that I have concern is that Moreno ducks a lot when he's throwing these overhands and that left hook. And Albazi throws a fucking nasty uppercut, man. He throws everything into it. So I even think he might have dropped was it Kai Kara? One of the fights he dropped somebody with that nasty uppercut. So yeah, I mean, I've been working with Cejudo. Who cares? Who cares if he's working with Cejudo? You think he's gonna out-scramble fucking Moreno? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't care if he's working with fucking the gold medalist. Moreno's just so hard to hold down, bro. The scrambling ability on Moreno is fucking insane scrambling ability on this guy. He's gonna get on top. If they decide to grapple like that, I just feel like Moreno's gonna scramble his way on top. And Santino's gonna be knocking. Let him knock on my door. I mean, it's what I see on tape and what I think. Albazi, does he have okay, grappling? Yeah, I think he's a good grappler. I just don't think he's on Moreno's level when it comes to jiu-jitsu and the scrambling ability. Maybe he might be a tad better wrestler. I don't know. But I think the difference between the two is I think the takedown defense and the scrambling ability of Moreno is way better than Albazi's, defensively speaking. So how about if Moreno gets on top of him? Then what? Then it might be very, very hairy for him. So we'll see. Anyways, that's it. All 14 fights, Tim. Lambo Parlay time. You want me to kick it off or you go?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. For me, it's going to be two of them. It's Nascimento, rounds 2-3, parlayed with Series City, round 2, round 3. And then the other one is Mallett sub, Gibson sub, and Nascimento ITD. So either KO or sub. I think they're anywhere from that second one is anywhere from 60-1 to 120-1. And the first one is 120-1 up to 275-1. So big Lambos this week. I have a lot of round 2, round 3, late props on this card. It just happened to be like that. Lately, I've been finding a lot of decisions, but this card, I see a lot of finishes. I don't know why. It's probably going to bite me in my ass with how many decisions we've had lately. But Tim, what do you got? He doesn't have anything. He's talking to himself.
Yeah, right. This is bad. I've got one that's a bigger one. Jazz KO 2-3 and Aaron sub plus 8,700. And then I've got. Let me see which one I want to go with here. I'm going to go with the hedge on the Jasmine by decision here. So Jasmine decision, Zalal by decision, Kaio by sub is 39-1.
All right. What is it again? Sorry.
Kaio sub, Zalal points, Jasmine points, 39-1.
How could that be only 39-1? No way. Kaio sub?
Yeah, because he's the 9-1, and then you get Zalal and Jazz by decision are both like one.
They're like bad. They're like bad numbers.
Yeah.
I got it. It's 39-1. And then what's the other one?
Jazz KO 2-3, Aaron by sub plus 8,700.
All right. All right. That's it, guys. Thank you very, very much to each and every one of you. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like down below. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back next week. I think I forgot when F1 is. I think it's in 3 weeks. I don't know if there's a card actually for that weekend. But if there is, I'm not going to be in town. I will be in Vegas for F1. I mean, you can do a show if you want, Tim. I'll give you my my StreamYard and stuff. You could set up a show if you want.
They're good.
Huh? Yeah. But yeah, tomorrow, live spaces in my Discord. If you haven't joined, link is down below. $25 a month. Don't be scared. Get in there. We have a great time and we win money in there. So again, thank you to my co-host Timothy Troiano. Thank you to everybody. One last thing. Let's cash those tickets for UFC Edmonton. Peace.